Hey, fourth graders, this is pages 257 to 258 in your language books. I'll review. All right, let's get started. So, think C, underline the verbs 2 times and the subject 1 time. Okay, very simple. If you guys remember, um, subjects are who or what the sentence is about, who or what the sentence is about, and the verbs are action words. Okay, action words, and they explain what happened. All right, for example, run, punch, jump. Those are all verbs. Those are all action words, words that you can do. Subject could be a noun, right? Person, place, or thing, and they usually do the verb in a sentence. Okay, so let's do the first one. The storm damaged the farmer's crop of corn. So let's look for the verb. What happened? What's the action word here? Damage. Okay, damage is the action word or the verb because it's something you can do. It tells us what happened. So what damaged? The who or what did the verb? The storm, right? So the storm's underlined once. Okay. Let's do number 2 together also. In 1883, the eruption of a volcano in Krakatoa killed 40,000 people. So, what happened in this sentence? So, what's the action word? Right, it's killed. Okay. Um, so what killed? The eruption killed. Okay. So you might think that eruption is a verb, but in this case, it's actually a noun. All right, erupted or erupting, those are verbs, but eruption is a noun. It's a subject. Okay. All right. So do the rest of that by yourselves. Just look for the subject and the verb, and to you check your answer. Remember, you can put the subject and the verb together, and they should make a short sentence. For example, number 1, storm damaged. Okay, so the storm damaged. That's a sentence, right? Or the eruption killed. That's also a short, complete sentence. So you can check your answers that way. Think D, go back to think C, diagram the subjects, verbs, and their modifiers for sentences 4, 10, 12, 15, 21, 22. Wow. So you're doing, what is it, 4, 10, 12, 15, 21, and 22. So make sure you guys are doing these. A lot of you guys are missing your problems that ask you to diagram on a separate paper. Also, just because it asks you to do it on a separate paper, guys, doesn't mean you don't have to do it. Still need to see it, guys. So a lot of you guys got incomplete because I'm not seeing you guys do the problems that require a different sheet of paper. Okay, so let's make sure you guys do those. Let's diagram one of these sentences. Let's do number 4 together. All right. So remember, when you diagram sentences, your subject goes on one end, right? Subject goes here. And the predicate goes on the other side, right? So what's the subject in my sentence for number 4? Move this up a little bit more. Smooth here. Okay, so number 4, we did not mention the subject again. So what's the subject here? Okay, let's underline it first, actually. Okay, so we did not mention the subject again. So what's the verb? Verb is mention, something you can do. Who did I mention? We did not mention, okay? All right. So you also need to underline the helping verb did also. So don't forget those, okay? Don't. Some of these have helping verbs in them. I see about let's see, yeah, about 4 or 5 sentences have helping verbs that you need to underline also, along with the verbs. All right. So the subject in this case is we, and the verbs are did mention. I know it's did not, but did is a helping verb. Not, it's not I don't believe not is not a helping verb. All right. So and then we remember the bottom of our subjects and our predicates. We have to write any adjectives or adverbs that we see. So are there any adjectives or adverbs for we? No, I don't see any. What about did mention? Well, very important. Not, right? Not is a adverb for mention. So not underneath did mention, and again is also a adverb describing mention. All right, so that's number 4. So you do the same thing for 10, 12, 15, 21, and 22. Make sure you guys are including the adjectives and adverbs. All right. Okay, let's do the next page. It says looking back, capitalization and punctuation. All right. Be ready to explain to your teacher why each word in bold italics is capitalized. You don't need to worry about that. You can skip, remember A. All right. Think B. Write the contraction for the following words. Okay. So contractions are very easy. Pretty much contractions are just 2 words put together. For example, I plus am. If I smush them together, it would make I'm, right? Our little parentheses here replaces the A in am, so I'm. All right. Just like another example is, let's see, let me erase this. Another example could be, it's just different color, sorry. All right, another example is we plus will. Mush that together is wheel, right? So WI is replaced by this parentheses. All right. Okay. Write the contraction for each of the following words. So I am put together is I'm, obviously. We would put together is weed. Kind of a weird word. I've actually never seen this contraction before, weed. Huh. I guess. All right. So you do the rest by yourself. Circle the lowercase letters that should be capitalized in the following sentences. You have to remember your capitalization rules. So let's go over that together. If you go to page, let's see, hold on, let me pull that up real quick. If you go to page 267, you will see the list of capitalization, all the capitalization rules that we went over near the beginning of the school year. So that page is going to help you a lot. You'll see this list here for all the capitalization rules. If you don't have it, then you can pause the video and just use the screen. All right, so let's go over let's go over the rules. So number 1, it says capitalize the first word of every sentence and every direct quotation. So let me make it smaller. So I'll put R1 for rule 1. So yeah, you guys all know the beginning of a sentence needs to start with capital letter. So for example, she. No, let's do something else. Let's do at the shop there was no toilet paper. Okay, so toilet paper has been running out lately. All right. At the shop there was no toilet paper. Okay, so at the beginning of a sentence we always have to start with a capital letter. So this is wrong here. This A should be a capital A. All right, and also the first letter of a direct quotation. So if someone's saying something, the first letter needs to be capitalized. For example, maybe the sentence goes, I asked the owner and he said, quotation, sorry, we're out. So sorry, we're out is a direct quotation. So the first letter of a direct quotation of whenever someone's saying something needs to be capitalized. All right. Yeah. Okay. So rule number 2, capitalize the word I. For example, this like right here, right? So if I had a lowercase I, sorry, right. If I had a lowercase I here instead of uppercase, I asked the owner and he said, "Sorry, we're out." So this lowercase I is incorrect because we know that you're always supposed to capitalize I if you're using it as a subject or a noun, okay? Or sorry, and if you're using it as a pronoun, I should say. Right. So that's rule number 2. I'll put R2 next to that. Okay, rule number 3, capitalize the days of the week and the months of the year, not the seasons. So rule 3, you always have to capitalize words. Days of the week like Monday needs to be capitalized, Tuesday, Wednesday, all right, etc. And the months of the year like April, May, June, all right. But you don't need to capitalize the seasons. So fall, winter, summer, etc. do not need to be capitalized. You can keep the first letter of these words lowercase. All right, so let's go over rule number 4. Capitalize the first word in every line of poetry. Okay, let me extend this real quick. Make this thing a little bit bigger. Just a quick reminder, I'm making bookmarks for you guys for the end of the year. So make sure you guys send me an email telling me what kind of bookmark you want by May 18th, okay? All right, so rule number 4 was, let's extend this window real quick. All right, rule number 4, capitalize the first word in every line of poetry. So when you see a poem, the first line needs to be always capitalized. For example, roses are red, violets are blue, and whatever my next line is needs to be the first letter is capitalized. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see the next one. Sorry, I have some issues here. Okay. So rule number 5: capitalize holidays and special days. So things like Christmas, Mother's Day, etc. needs to be the first letter of each word needs to be capitalized. All right. Okay. Rule number 6 is capitalize the first and last word in all important words in the titles of books, magazines, newspapers, poems, stories, and songs. Do not capitalize the word a, and the in the title unless they are the first words in the title. You also do not capitalize words like as, and, such as and, at, by, down, for, and, of, on, to, and with, unless they are the first words in the title. So the example here, let me show you an incorrect example. The cat and the hat. So you only capitalize the first letter needs to be capitalized in the title. So the needs to be capitalized, even though it's considered a not an important word. Cat definitely needs to be capitalized. In and the you don't need to capitalize, just like what we see here in a rule. And hat needs to be capitalized because it is an important word in the title. All right. Rule number 7: capitalize the names of particular persons, places, or things. You guys know that. So names of people, like William Chan, my name. Places, like Disneyland, needs to be capitalized. Or things, and names of things, like a name of a toy, maybe Monopoly. Monopoly is the name of a game. Monopoly, yeah, so that needs to be capitalized. But things like board games, you do not need to capitalize because that's not a name of a thing. All right. Rule number 8: capitalize words such as mother, father, grandmother, and grandfather when they are used as names. So when so for example, if you said, I asked mother, and she said yes. All right. So So since I'm using mother as instead of saying I asked, you know, Tracy, I guess if that's the name of your mom. Of course, that'd be kind of rude, right? To use your mom's first name. So if you instead of using your mom's real name, right, you call it mother. So in this sentence, mother needs to be capitalized, needs to be capital M. Okay, and this is a direct quotation, so I need to write quotation marks and capitalize the first letter. Okay, so yeah, next in this example, whenever you use mom, mother, father, grandmother, and grandfather, or any types of those words, you have to capitalize it if you're using it in instead of their name. So if I replace mother with Tracy, and if the sentence still makes sense, then you would need to capitalize it. Okay, so I asked Tracy or mother, and she said yes. Yeah. You don't say like you can't say I have. You don't capitalize it if you say like I have a mother and a father. All right. So in this example, I don't capitalize mother and father because I'm not using it as a name. Okay. So if I did the test, instead of mother, I said Tracy. Instead of father, I said Bob. Would it still make sense? I have a Tracy and a Bob. No, that does not make sense at all, right? So, yeah, you can use that to test whether or not you need to capitalize it. Okay, let's go to next rule. So let's do rule 9. Capitalize names referring to God in the Bible. So like things like Holy Spirit, the Father, right? Our Father. Things, words that we use for God. Even when we, instead of saying, when we refer to God as He, we need to capitalize H and He, okay? For example, and, He said, let there be light. Okay, that's not what the Bible, it's not a direct quotation in the Bible, but yeah, this is just an example. So even though usually we would use lowercase h, since whenever we're referring to God, we always capitalize the first letter, just out of respect and reverence for God. All right. Okay, so let's do rule number 10. Capitalize initials, things like USA, um, things like ASAP. I'm not sure if you guys know what this means, but means to respond as quickly as possible. This is actually French. I forgot what it stands for exactly, but yeah, things like that. Or what else? What else? Initials of your name. So WC is initials for my name. So I would use a capital W and capital C, not a lowercase w and lowercase c. All right. All right. Rule number 11: capitalize the title of a person when it comes before a name. Things like Mr., Mrs., Miss, all those need to be capitalized. Doctor, yeah. All right. So, or like junior, yeah, junior, senior, all right, needs to be capitalized. The first letter. Let's go over the worksheet. Circle the lowercase letters that should be capitalized in the following sentences. All right, number 1, the book I read was published by World Publishing Company in 1972. So, all right. First letter of sentence, of course, needs to be capitalized. So we would circle T, and the I is always capitalized, right? If you're using it as a pronoun. Read was published by the World Publishing Company. It's the name of a company, so first letter needs to be capitalized. Oh, sorry, not the T. So World needs to be capitalized. Publishing and company. CO period means company in 1972. Okay, so let's do number 2 together also. The O and on needs to be capitalized, of course. December, names of months needs to be capitalized. The Wright brothers, so Wright is the last names, and you also need to capitalize. Oh, you don't need to capitalize brothers, actually. Sorry, the Wright brothers tried out their flying machine at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. So Kitty Hawk is the name of a place. So K in Kitty, and the H in Hawk needs to be capitalized. North Carolina is the name of a state, so that first letter of each word needs to be capitalized. All right, so that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, of course you can ask me. All right, take care.